the place. In a bear market, just trying to make a way, yeah. And these goblins riding up to space. But it's kind of funny, so it's all good with me, yeah. Good morning, I hope you living well. Counting up the spread, taking care of yourself, eh. Good morning, I hope you living good. Hopefully this heat gon' get us out of here. GM, now my wrist so frozen. I just sold a bag, it's a real good morning. And I'm burning on my gas, but I made a couple thousand. Yeah, got me saying GM.
Yo, what is up, everybody? This is NFT Live. We're rocking it with some of the coolest dudes in the NFT space, as well as July. We heard July, thank you very much. But I've got Ronan, the collector. I've got Gifted. I've got DJ Savage in the house. We are running some NFT Live. Pretty hot news we're going to cover today. So we got a pretty good episode that's going to be coming at you. So excited to be with y'all. Ronan, how you doing today, my man? I know you're struggling, but I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, man, I'm doing good. Otherwise, it's been a good week. I'm looking forward to the conversation. It's been another crazy week in NFT, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Truth. Give, what up?
Yo, what is up? Always happy to be here with y'all. Shout out DJ Savage for the tech tips, getting my new camera working all right. Hopefully it doesn't rug us in the middle of this. But yeah, pouring one out today for all the Solana homies. I really hope all the friends out there aren't being impacted. Another big reminder why you need a hardware wallet and to always be safe. But yeah, I love the meme about, great, now I can't afford a Gucci shirt in ApeCoin and fiat. So, feeling that one.
It's good, Savage.
I'm doing good. Sitting around doing some server security stuff and staying busy. Hosting NFT Live today, middle of the week, hump day. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there.
We are almost there. And as you guys know, if you tune into NFT Live weekly, Savage usually hosts like the R-rated version, pretty much is what it's becoming, of NFT Live. But he is filling in for me here on Wednesdays. Here I'm on vacation, touching some sand, as Gifted was talking about, I believe yesterday on Good Morning Web3 on that Twitter Spaces he hosts pretty much every day, Monday through Thursday. So really dope stuff we got coming at you. Other than this hack, which we are going to touch on, we are going to hit on Tiffanys and CryptoPunks, as well as Ape Gucci. And then there's a interesting project called Recur. Ronan's going to have some great things to talk about Recur here as they bring larger brands into the space. I think they're launching like a Care Bears drop as well as a Nickelodeon drop. There's some cool like parallels that we can make to like early days wax. So like a 2019 scenario, 2020 scenario when me and Ronan first got into NFTs, and there was primarily just digital collectibles, right? Like, and that was it. Like, there wasn't any utility pass. Like, let me flip these garbage pail kids. And it's an interesting like parallel we can draw here. I'm definitely stoked to talk to Ronan about the wax stuff, but a lot of this conversation too, Gif, we were having Web3. So just in general, I'm having a great time here on vacation, but it's good to keep up with y'all in the NFT space. Last piece I want to go through on my end before we go around the circle and see what everybody's up to is going to be WAGME United. I've been telling you all about WAGME here for like the last 2 months. They had their first game. If you're keeping up with the goal of getting to the Premier League from League 2, they had their first game, Crawley Town did, against Carlisle United. I watched it this weekend. I'm staying on top of the boys for you guys. It was a struggle. We had 6 shots on target. We had a lot of possession. So if you're into soccer, if you're into football, as they say, we had like 68% possession, only 6 shots on target. But another game this Saturday. It was a cool experience, kind of rooting for a team that you have vested interest in. But that's where I'll kind of cap out here. Oh, go ahead, Gif. I see you.
I love that this is an on-ramp, not just into NFTs potentially for some soccer and football hooligans, but also like an on-ramp into deep like sports fandom and like, fantasy. Like now you're like a part owner, dude. Like you're like going to be paying attention to the stats. We got 68% possession this game. Like how are we improving from game to game? Like it's really kind of cool and exciting as an experiment still,
Yeah, absolutely, man. So let's go around the circle real quick and see what everybody's doing, like the NFT space. It's a slow, time in NFTs right now. It's kind of a bear market, as we know, but I want to see what all of y'all three are doing as it's related to NFT. So we'll go around the circle. Ronan, are you doing anything NFT related here?
Man, I really haven't done much in the space, to be honest. I will say that I went up to New York last week for the Super Plastic store opening, and that was pretty dope. One of the things they did there was they had a collaboration with an artist called Sir, SSUR, who's a street artist, and he does clothes and shit. And they had the first 50 of those were available in store, and if you purchased them in store, you were able to collect an NFT. And it was only available to people who bought in store. The drop was opened up to the public the next day for like anyone who wanted to go. The remaining, I think they sold most of them on the first night, or actually they only sold like a handful, I think like 8. But by Friday night, they had sold all of them, which is cool. And it was a really smooth process. Like during the checkout, like you gave them your email, they checked you out, and then the girl went to go get your bag, and before she came back, you already had an email to collect your NFT. So that was kind of a cool experience, and I think that that's step one, right? Like step two is like when, and I told Superplastic this, I said, you guys need to throw an NFC chip in these bad boys, and now like when you scan them, verify ownership via the NFT, right? So it was cool to see kind of like as like we move forward. For me, what's most interesting in the space is seeing the innovation that's taking place, right? Like especially now, having some really cool conversations with like Token Frame and companies like that. Just seeing like how we're really starting to integrate NFTs so easily, to be able to, just give this girl your email address just like you're used to doing at checkout, and then next thing you know, you've got an NFT. That is an opportunity for onboarding. Now, you had to have an ETH wallet, you had to have it connected to your account, but we're getting there, right? So for me, not too much personally. I did pick me up a WAGMI United, so I'm looking forward to claiming my jersey. And now that I know the season's on, I'm going to start watching as well. And yeah, man, yeah. Outside of that, man, I've been getting physicals out the wazoo, bro. Like I just got my Huxley issue number 1. It came in this dope case.
Let's
and
go.
Open it up, and it's sick, man. It's so fucking dope. My kids were like, "Ooh, what's this?" And yeah, man. So like, it's nice when this stuff just kind of shows up. It's like, shit, I ordered it, a year ago, I think. So
when you said physicals, I definitely thought you meant like turning cough. 40s physical. You were like, I'm getting a bunch of them.
Or how about what
like,
earlier?
All
when
right,
GIF,
all right, Ronan.
Yeah, when GIF said porno. Like
me too. I heard. That's what I heard too.
I heard it too. Yeah. What about you, GIF? What you been up to in the space, man?
Well, getting like really into the Tezos ecosystem right now, which is pretty cool. And yeah, just to comment briefly on what you just mentioned, right? That seamless experience is so key, and getting more of that is how you really expand the space and bring on board more people. So to hear that people are starting to really improve that experience, make it more seamless for people. The way that it's integrating into physicals, that's really cool to hear, and excited to see more of that. But yeah, on the NFT front, yesterday we did a Tez Tuesday on GM Web3, and basically like Jiwa, one of our homies, came and brought a whole bunch of alpha in terms of like who are the top generative artists creating on the Tezos blockchain, especially FX Hash. And then I basically spent my whole day figuring out where I could pull liquidity from, getting it over to Tez, and then shopping and buying a whole bunch of amazing generative artists on FX Hash. Some like historically relevant early generative projects. The one I haven't gotten yet that I'm working on is the RGB elementary automatons. I'm going to get one of those. People are like, oh, are these the squiggles? Because it was, an early project created by whatever. We can get into that later. But buying a lot of Tezos, enjoying getting to learn more about that ecosystem and the artists there. And I bought a bunch of Tez domains as well. So now I have yeah, go ahead.
Did you pick you up a Jiwa?
I have several of like intent.art. Yeah, .jiwa. I've got a few. I should probably get more.
That very first one, the ones that they showed while we were in New York, man, I literally I had to go straight to the store and buy one, dude. It was so sick. Their work is
Heck
excellent.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Jiwa is one of our, one of our homies. He's part of the Intent.art collective in Germany. Shout out Intent.art. We love you. And he comes on our GM Web3 show, especially on Tuesdays. And yeah, he's deep into generative art. He knows a ton about what's happening on Tezos and with generative art. And yeah, the reason why I was like, I need to spend my whole day like actually figuring out how I can buy some of these NFTs that we're talking about is because he came into our show like a week or two ago, put us on a really like historically important generative art project. Like one of the first generative artists just dropped an Ethereum collection and the floor was like 1 or 2 ETH. And I was like, I don't know. I was thinking about it. And the floor is already like 20 ETH. And I'm just like, shit. All right. I gotta follow up on some of this alpha that we're dropping in the show and actually make some moves. So that's why yesterday I went shopping.
I have felt that way about what
It didn't finish.
I've felt that way about NFT since we started. Like some of the projects we got, I'm like, I should probably buy some of that shit, and never follow. Yo, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the chat really quick. You guys in NFT Live here, we're going through the news. We got a bunch of stuff to touch on, as well as what we're doing, of course, in the space here. But Alien River Hash Rhymes, who I'm sure it's like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. in the Hash Rhymes time, so I appreciate her tuning in. As being a moderator for our Discord, which is amazing. Asmodai is saying, OVOT, let's fucking go. Wag me, insert next meme texty. Troy is saying, OVOT. Santino, Carter, Dickensis is here for the daily hack alpha, XPlow, Machiavellian, Digits. You guys are all coming through. We appreciate you being here today as we just get started here. But Savage, what are you doing in the space before we move it to the next story, man?
I've taken on a couple new NFT jobs recently, so I've been doing a lot of back-end work. So my week has completely flown by, doing 14, 15-hour days, messing with permissions and roles and bots, and week feels like it just started. Can't believe it's already Wednesday and halfway through Wednesday at that point. So just not really buying anything, just staying working, head down focused, I guess, Someone's got to keep these servers out there safe, right?
True.
Doing important work.
Yeah, not being safe on Solana, but we are going to get started, guys, into our first story. If you guys like the content here, if you're here every week, if you're brand new, all of the above, please like the channel and like the episode here that you're sitting on. It does help us get the word out about NFT Live and about all the content creators on the network. Or leave a sub. If you don't have that sub button started, then you need to get that shit going. So I'm going to get us into our first topic here. I kind of jam on vacation, but we are going to try to attempt to continue this. So the first story we have really is going to be this Solana hack. So hopefully you can see my screen here. This story's got a little bit of an update beyond what you see here from Decrypt. So as you can see, about $4.5 million worth of tokens from the Solana blockchain have been, pretty much emitted, and people are getting their wallets drained essentially. And there's a quick update from, but I'm going to touch on Fubar really quick. 0x Fubar. He's saying that this is related specifically to a slope wallet or these. Now, I'm a Phantom user. It looks like Phantom wallets might be at play here as well. But the important thing to know is if you haven't interacted potentially with the slope wallet, but also mobily. So if you haven't, all of this is done from a mobile standpoint, as we can tell, and all of this stuff needs to be updated by the hour, at least by the minute. But what we have come to understand is there are some exploits happening via mobile third-party wallets on the Solana blockchain. So it has nothing to do really with Solana, and it has more to do with these third-party apps, specifically the Slope wallet, as well as what I can, come to believe it based on this tweet here that Phantom is somehow involved as well. And I believe there's a tune to about 8,000 wallets that have been collectively attacked. So if you guys have any updates here on your side, I know GIF, we were talking about this in Web3 earlier today. So do you have any updates from what you were hearing over there, and we can kind of kick it off?
No, I mean this is obviously the most pertinent, relevant technical explanation for what's going on. I'm just like upset, for the whole community because these types of things hurt the whole ecosystem, and for all the collectors and people out there that are affected by it, it's really awful. I have to say I basically yesterday when all this was happening, I sold all my or I traded all my soul into Tez, basically because of this. And that
because
was
of
my
the hack
personal move.
quotes.
Yeah, because of that. Yeah, which is not, I'm not saying everybody do that. I'm just saying that's what I did. I've been slowly getting into Soul, but I know it's had a lot of issues, and then things like this come up, and it's bad. It's really bad when 8,000 plus people are affected by things like this, even if it's not Solana's fault. It's impacting their ecosystem directly. So I don't know. It sucks. It really sucks. And obviously that's really helpful info. I don't have any other more helpful info other than this is again, just another reason why you want to protect yourself with a hardware wallet and be super careful.
Yeah. And to
Yeah,
Gibbs'
it
point
looks like
there, oh, go ahead, Ronan.
I was just gonna say I was looking at that thread, and it looks like what happened was it was a hack on Slope, the Slope wallet specifically, and that the Phantom wallets that were involved are ones that had been connected to Slope wallets at some point, where their phrases had been imported into Slope. So the assumption is that Slope was storing that passphrase data on their side for some idiotic reason, obviously, which was probably on a centralized server and a centralized database that someone simply hit the download SQL on and imported into a bot and committed the fraud, right? I think like one of the things that we can probably take from this, to Gift's point, is like really like, yeah, even if it is your keys in your wallet, you need to be careful where you're putting your damn keys at, right? Like for me, I still to this day have not used and put my seed phrase anywhere, period. In my opinion, you should never ever put your passphrase anywhere. So that's just kind of my 2 cents. And the joke was more so that you sold the soul, quote unquote, for the hack when really you were doing it for the art.
Yeah.
Yo, this is a super important point too that Ronan just touched on about not putting your seed phrase anywhere online. Essentially, people imported their private key seed phrase into that Slope wallet after having created it, or I'm sorry, they imported it into the Phantom wallet after creating it on the Slope wallet, which is essentially
No, the
if
other
you're
way.
that person,
The other way.
no,
So
so
they had a
Phantom
Phantom
wallets were
wallet,
able to
and
be
then
hacked.
they imported. No, Slope wallet is what got hacked. Phantom, if you had a Phantom wallet, then you took your Phantom passphrase and put it into Slope so you could access your Phantom wallet through Slope. So Slope
Okay,
is
I thought
what got hacked. So if you had a genuine Slope wallet or a wallet that you put your passphrase into to access through Slope, then you were probably part of the hack.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a good amount of technical stuff that obviously like down to the bits and pieces of this, like we don't have the technical understanding today. So I'm wondering if that could like be done the opposite way, right? Like I created a wallet on Slope and then into a Phantom wallet. Could then my Phantom wallet be compromised as well? So again, I don't know, but at least we have some indication that this isn't like a Solana wide blockchain hack where people need to be worried in a sense, unless you were interacting with that Slope wallet. Apparently that seems to be where the exploit is. So
The problem there is that like Solana isn't really it's not that big of a chain yet, and it already has a lot of other issues. And so when these types of things happen, it does actually have a massive impact on that whole ecosystem, whether or not it's fair to the Solana devs. Sorry, go ahead, Savage.
Oh, I was reading and I totally forgot what I was going to say. In one ear, out the other. I think I was going to say, I believe that's exactly how it would work, Nifty, because as long as the passphrases are the right length, you can import them into other wallets. So if you created it on Phantom and then imported it somewhere else, if that other wallet is where they're storing those seed phrases, they're going to have it. So that Phantom wallet would have been compromised by slope. We have Esmodai in chat saying it's Slade wallet. I don't know which one's right. I didn't read it.
Oh no, I think he actually corrected himself afterwards. Dickens is saying, "Damn, how long has that wallet been active? Is MetaMask open source? Do I know if I'm safe?" Let's see. Marty McFly's asking, which artist are you talking about? Gift from Tezos to ETH.
I mean, if you want, I can pull up a bunch of them and just read off names, or you can just go back and listen to yesterday's GM Web 3. But you know, may I don't know. It's up to you if you want me to do it.
To the question in chat, yes, MetaMask is open source.
So Solana, yeah, multiple different ways. We'll leave that up to the community as well to kind of come in here and chat with us on the Solana hack, where we're getting more information consistently. But like, so it's funny because Solana's not down that much, you know. Like, so Solana has had multiple, to your point, Gift, problems where they've actually had to pause, you know, in yada 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 that you hear from more centralized layer ones, and it really has been able to bounce back. So in this scenario, it doesn't even feel like really that big of a thing for Solana, in my opinion, where you might go to another chain and say, you know, like this happening really hurts your, you know, progress, evolving user acquisition and stuff, maybe in the short term, but Solana feels like it's just going along per normal. I don't even think they had an announcement from the actual Solana like profile or anything.
I mean, they're only down 2% in 24 hours, so they're really not doing that bad.
Yeah.
But $40 looks horrible. I remember when it was like $2.50 or whatever, so.
But that's everything.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it probably won't affect them much because they've already been, you know, there's been a lot of downward pressure. They've already been beaten down a lot. But I can say, at least anecdotally for myself, as a person that is newer to the Solana ecosystem, and I was like starting to get involved, I was buying a lot of Solana and then also starting to acquire Solana NFTs. The more of these issues that start to like show up, it does really impact the amount of time and attention and you know, liquidity, resources, whatever that I'm going to be dedicating to that chain, right? So I think they'll be fine. I'm not trying to flood it. I'm just, you know, that's my personal take on it, is that there's a lot of issues and it does impact, like it makes me more and more bullish on ETH. Like let's just put it that way, right? Like like the more issues that Solana and these other chains have, it just gives me even more conviction in Ethereum.
Proven, tested. I guess we'll see when I guess it's not called ETH 2.0, but when the new version of ETH proof of stake comes out.
Yeah, that should be interesting. Ronan, did you have any initial reaction when this first came out? Were you like scrambling to open your Phantom wallet and move everything, or like what was your reaction when it actually happened?
Dude, no, I got like 1.2 Sol and a whole bunch of fucking crypto cities. So if anybody wants it, they can fucking have it. But like, no, I didn't worry. I will say to Gift's point though, it's just like another reason why I just don't go back to like the chain, right? Like I've seen them like have so many issues time after time that I'm like, well, Solana just isn't interesting to me because of that, right? But like, you know, I think to your point too, like they are going and they've got the traction and it will continue to hold it. I do think that this is something where people kind of like have to consider like that and what the ecosystem is what's going on in the ecosystem. But you know, I just really think like for me, what it did was it made me think like, okay, well, you know, where did the hack take place? And this is how I work. Like how did the hack take place? What went wrong? Who was affected, and how can I avoid being like that person in the future, right? Because like that's all you can do in this space is like constantly do your research. And for anybody who's halfway interested in this shit, Bankless is a podcast that I just like started listening to when that big Terra thing took place. Those guys break down all of these big like hacks and things and how they took place and you know, and their assumptions and how they affected. And the way they broke down the Terra thing was really super interesting. And it was like, for, you know, explain it like I'm 5, right? Like I don't know shit about like crypto and how, you know, the economies are affected by this stuff, but like they broke it down to where I really understood it, and then I could go have a knowledgeable conversation with someone else about it. So I'm sure that if you're interested in this, they'll have something about the Solana hack. I'm sure they will also do, if they didn't already, the other hack that took place. What was it? There was another big hack that just happened like 2 days ago.
Nomad, was it Nomad?
Yes, the Nomad hack. I'm sure they're going to break that one down. Like they go through all of those things and talk about how it's affecting like not only the people involved, but also crypto as a whole, right? Because like they are very huge and adamant about That's excellent. But yeah, they're huge proponents of crypto and what we're about. And so it's cool to just hear them break this stuff down and how they think it affects the industry as a whole.
Yeah, as I was saying, can we post some Tezos links in Discord? You can definitely post Tezos links in Discord, man. Like we're blockchain agnostic as far as we're concerned. We love ETH, of course, like we were saying. Things like this happen, and it makes you appreciative that, you know, ETH doesn't have essentially these problems outside of maybe like the bridge situations when you have a lot of money there in bridges. It seems to be a honeypot for people that want to go after it. Yeah, I think we hit on some good pieces. Thank you guys for hitting that chat as well. Solana, yeah, it's going to be something that we continuously watch. The Nomad hack was funny, and it might have been on the same chain. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was on Solana as well. Is that what you were saying? I think it was. I think it potentially was on Solana. Yeah, that hack was super interesting because what happened was it wasn't like one person hacking for, and this was like hundreds of millions of dollars.
No,
anybody, me and you, all four of us could jump on and interact with whatever contract that was and pull money out of whatever that exploit was. It was unprecedented when it comes to like what type of hack that was, where anybody and people did, you know, as a retail user, you could go in, interact with a contract, pull what I don't know to what extent, but that was an interesting hack because it allowed to do basically like an open Kmart.
Yeah, it was like, so I read into it a little bit, and again, I'm going to listen to the bank list because I know they're going to have a really good breakdown, but essentially from the way I understand that it worked is that you could do a call for an amount of you know, the crypto or whatever, and as long as the wallet that you did the call for had that amount in it, it would create the transaction, right? So like, and people were able to like drain full wallets that way. But that's what it's like totally different in how it took place, right? It's like me figuring out that there's this exploit and then sending it to like my Discord alpha group and being like, yo, you can send a call to this and it'll give you back like anything as long as the wallet's got it. And so it ended up being like a community type run. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, here's a question. Like, if we're sitting in Discord and someone pings at everyone and says, yo, you know, there's this, they just updated ETH and there's this freaking exploit. You can call, you know, this whatever and get any amount of ETH as long as the wallet's got it. Are you guys hitting the button?
Me? No.
Savage went to a screen.
No.
Not me.
No, I would not do that. I would not. Couldn't do it.
Nope.
How much money are we talking here?
They said they took 190 million USD in 2 hours. So, like you said, limitless.
$190 million divided by thousands of people. And what I thought about was funny that I read was that they said that, you know, something along the lines of they're going to work to find the perpetrators. And I'm like, the perpetrators are like 21-year-old kids who were at home who didn't realize what the hell they were doing. Just that they thought they were getting free money. You know, like, it's like, this is going to be an interesting one to follow long term.
Yeah. I got some comments here. Marty McFly saying the hack just basically leaves it to ETH, and he says Cardano is number 2 clearly. Dekenza says, was it a hack or a contract feature? And then Asmodai saying Nomad was a pre-authorized replay attack. I think that's a great comment there by Ken. People often kind of, I think, did I disconnect here?
I can still hear you.
Oh, okay. I think people use exploit and hack interchangeably, and sometimes it's probably more accurate to say exploit, right? Like this clearly in this scenario was an exploit, but hack I think gets the message across probably a little bit easier. But anyways, guys, we are moving on to the next topic here. I want to get everybody's comment here on this next piece. I think GIF and Ronan and Savage, I think you guys have a good eye for brand awareness and developing a brand. I really think this next piece is one that's right up our alley. So the first one that we're going to touch on here, and let me make sure I pull it up. Tiffanys is working with CryptoPunks to launch physical NFT. Essentially what you have here is a NFT that can be redeemed for a physical chain. Now that it was up, I think it's upwards, and you saw that right at the end. 250 assets, 30 ETH a pop is going to be the actual amount there. So, really cool, larger brand getting into the space, of course, like Tiffany, and Tiffany's really, I think, is like a higher end, of course, on the jewelry side, and having a 30 ETH sticker price definitely was shocking to a lot of people, but I think it definitely falls in line with CryptoPunks in my opinion. So big company here getting into the space. Let me know you guys' thoughts, and we'll kind of break it down as they get into the space here with NFT or NFTIF. NFT. What are we going with?
For me, this is like just
NFTIF.
another NFTIF. I hate the name. This is just another example of like really poor like strategy. Like it's you don't need an NFT for what they're doing, right? And that's where like I try to have the conversation like when we're talking to like potential clients and shit. It's like, do you need an NFT to do what you're trying to do? Because if not, then like let's consider if you need to be like approaching it, right? Like you can do a damn redemption like system. Like you can have somebody pay some money and get a damn pendant made by Tiffanys, and that be that, right? Like what's the point of the NFT? What's the point of targeting like the punks? What's the point of asking for 30 ETH? It's just, in my opinion, them coming in, going to do their snatch and grab. They're going to grab some cash and they're going to keep on moving, right? Like there's no why, right? Like I would rather them just do what Gucci did and say, look, like we're just integrating crypto, right? Like just give us another reason like to say like to the people who say you can't use your crypto, another reason to like point our middle fingers, because like that at least pushes like the adoption forward, right? Like what NFT or NFTIF is or whatever is not it, in my opinion.
So go ahead, Savage. I'll jump in after you.
I said I'm not into jewelry, so a 30 ETH pendant that can get ripped away from you or you can lose, not my thing. I guess I probably watched too many like weird YouTube videos where random guys run up and jack someone for a chain, or they leave their grill on the table and it gets thrown away and there goes $100,000 or whatever. Just not my style. I guess I'm not that flashy. Or maybe it's just that I'm that cheap and frugal that I can't go out in public flossing like that. That's why we're still rocking an iPhone 7. You can steal it, have it.
Yo, Sean is saying looks like Gifted is already flexing his NFTIF. So, Gif, you already in the club?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what this is. This is definitely Tiffany's QR code. That's what that is. Yeah. No, like I basically always agree with Ronan because he's super smart, and I definitely agree with part of what he's saying. I differ a little bit in that I think that at least like relative and compared to a lot of other brands entering the space, I think that this makes a lot of sense. And so while I see what Ronan's saying, that like it's not entirely necessary, it's not the most innovative thing. It's like, are they maybe just making some cash out of this, and is there any guarantee that they're going to stay dedicated or in the space? No, none of that. On the flip side, what are the virtues of it? Like, what's the why? The why is brand equity, brand building, adding some additional relevance, making the Tiffanys brand, which is a very old historic brand with a lot of history and a ton of brand equity, making that relevant and interesting to a newer, younger audience, and still holding that really high value, right? So it's like they didn't come in and do something that didn't make sense, that was like at a really low level and like mass market. That's not what Tiffanys is, right? They came in at a super high point with like, the biggest most well-known historic, at PFP of all time, partnered with them and did something super limited edition. And the NFT is just, that's what makes it interesting and innovative for Tiffanys as a brand to be doing it. And people also like to have the physical that accompanies the NFT. So it's like, I get it. I also get why it's not like, it's not that great or interesting, but I get why they're doing it. And to me, it makes more sense than a lot of other things.
Dude, I didn't go ahead, Savage. Go ahead,
I was
Savage.
gonna say that's my exact thought of why Tiffanys was doing it, because it's an old brand and they want to get younger people into it, and NFTs are what the in crowd is doing. So
that's fair. I just didn't get why the community didn't get the limited supply drop for CryptoPunks. Like, that is the whole idea of that community. That is what they're built on, is saying, I got a fucking CryptoPunk, look at me. And that is like literally their utility as a community and what they've done. They don't do that many events, if any. Larva Labs completely went off into the sunset and sold that from to Yuga Labs there. To my other question that I posed in Web3 this morning, Gift, that I think we went down like another rabbit hole and it didn't get answered. But is this like the first piece that we're seeing where Yuga Labs is involved and now something happens with the CryptoPunks IP? Like, has there been anything else other than like brief mentions on other side?
So this is what I think is also a little bit interesting about the whole Gucci ApeCoin partnership as well, and that's that to me this opens up and kind of tilts the hand a little bit on what part of the roadmap might be looking like for Yuga and their brands, because to me, like, the ApeCoin Gucci thing says, hey, they're going to be doing like super limited edition collaborations and drops in Gucci stores with the Bored Ape. So it's like simultaneously you've got people out there using their shared and distributed IP to go into Old Navy and license their stuff everywhere else. What's their response to making sure that the brand retains its equity? It's like they're going to be launching those tentpole partnerships and doing the really high-end limited edition stuff still with the Guccis, with the Tiffanys. And it's like, that's actually really interesting. Like, nobody else could probably pull that off except for Yuga, because of the amount of brand equity that they have and the audiences that they have in their projects and in their IP. Nobody, like, who else could be partnering with Tiffanys and Gucci right now? There's not that many. So anyway, it gives me like a window into like where a lot of this might be going, and the idea that they're going to be doing super exclusive limited edition Bored Ape, drops at Gucci stores, I think is bullish. I like, whether or not I'm going to go and get them or not, I think that creates mass market appeal and allure at like a really high end exclusive level. And like, whether or not you can afford that shit, people are going to be wanting to get knockoff versions of that Bored Ape Gucci drop. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's cool.
100%.
That's like the most interesting part of it to me as well.
Go ahead, Ron.
So like Gift's point is, I really like, another one that we didn't bring up, which is Tag Heuer, which is a very high-end watchmaker. They are now accepting ApeCoin, right? They just announced yesterday. And Tag is, my first job was literally in a watch store. So ever since I was a kid, like, Tag is like one of those brands that I've always wanted to have a tag. But you're talking about a $2,500 watch, right? Well, guess what? Like, your boy's got a stack of ApeCoin, and now they accept ApeCoin. And now they've got this smartwatch, right, that allows you to flex your ape, right, and digitally, and it also connects to all your other stuff, does the same things that my Apple Watch does, except for it's a fucking Tag Heuer, which is, again, one of the biggest fucking watchmakers in the world. So, that's going to be on my Christmas list for myself. So, but, like, the point there being is, like, I assumed that apes would be going out here and doing their thing to like perpetuate the brand, and Yuga would be very focused on the brand itself. But Yuga is showing that like these partnerships are going to be coming from left and right, and you have no idea where they're going to come from and who they're going to be with. But you better expect anybody, because they've already hit Gucci, they've already hit Tiffanys, they've already hit Tag, and all three of those are fucking items that you're not buying, and not everyday person is going to be picking up off the shelf, right? So it's very interesting, move.
That's so real quick note on that. Think about what that does for ApeCoin as a cryptocurrency in terms of positioning it amongst all of its competitors, right? Like when you're
That's an
associating
excellent point.
ApeCoin, when you're associating ApeCoin with, oh, this is the cryptocurrency of Gucci, of Tag Heuer, of, you know, all these high-end brands, like, yeah, ApeCoin is already almost in the
That's
top 30 biggest cryptos. Like, imagine if they can differentiate ApeCoin as like a high-end exclusive cryptocurrency.
the
But you
luxury
mentioned
fucking
it
coin.
there.
Wow,
That
dude.
is dope. That needs to be exclusive. That needs to be exclusive. We touched on this on the morning show too. That needs to be exclusive because right now they're a net extractor. They're basically creating their product. Someone's paying Ape for that product, and a lot of people are not spending their money on Ape. They're not buying Ape and then buying this product, this Gucci. They're spending whatever, like Ronan said, I got a bag of Ape, so I'm, you know, spending it.
But
They need to create an exclusive thing where people are going out and buying ApeCoin, and then that will lead to a good cycle for this token,
that's
or else it's just an extractor.
Yeah, well, to me, that's the obvious move, right? Like they have to do that. To your point, Q, like they have to do that because yeah, otherwise all the like there's nothing increasing the demand. It's all like, but if a lot of these limited edition exclusive high end drops, like you can only get them with ApeCoin, you can go into the Gucci store, but your dirty fiat isn't going to work here for this specific line. Like, yeah, that it just makes
Yeah.
too much sense.
Yeah. Yep. And like the collabs don't even have to be Bored Ape, right? Like that's the thing. Like Gucci can say like on any given day, you know what, we're gonna drop this shit. It's gonna be in these stores, and it's only gonna be available to anybody who holds ApeCoin, and it just be a straight up Gucci shirt or a fucking Gucci and Yeezy fucking collab, right? Like it can be any of those things, and they can token gate it. And once they do that, man, if you think the value of freaking ApeCoin is what like not financial advice, but still, like I hadn't even thought about that GIF. And if they target it, like,
Well,
but that's the thing, right? You have to control the brand, so it has to be the Gucci's and the Tiffanys and the tags and all that shit. Like you've got to keep it like to that luxury, and then make sure that all the partnerships are very high fucking quality. And that's yeah, dude, I see it.
to me, the Gucci storefronts are literally just that. They're just storefronts, like really high-end storefronts at all the most expensive malls around the world. They just become distribution points that are strategically positioned in the most high-income areas in the entire fucking world, right? So that's just a way to get it distributed out there. But like people, yeah, people are gonna have to use ApeCoin and get into that ecosystem to participate in certain things. Yeah, it's honestly, I think it's brilliant. Like nobody else could be doing this right now.
We've been talking about crypto getting used in point of sale, like situations for years, and people are like, "Oh, we accept Dogecoin for Tesla and all this stuff," but nothing ever has traction. This seems to have at least some traction. Guys, we showed a little bit of the story there with ApeCoin essentially being utilized there at Gucci stores. Now, this was something I believe that actually like went into effect when they put out the announcement. Like a lot of people were wondering, people could start spending their Ape on Gucci stuff, and apparently people already have. So I think this is like already in production. Am I correct here?
Well, so I did hear somebody was already purchasing using ApeCoin, buying Gucci wares. But also just to put like an even finer point on this, like imagine the marketing value that you get by having all of the clientele of all of these Gucci stores around the world, seeing that even within the extremely exclusive Gucci stores, there is an exclusive part of that store that you can only access with ApeCoin. Like, just imagine the marketing value that has for a brand and for a cryptocurrency. Like it's almost impossible to imagine how valuable that can be if they're able to not just use these as distribution points for the merch, but also for the ideas for advertising ApeCoin and Bored Apes. Like it's like the most.
I like how it's
Yeah, at that point, it's like, why not? Like, how long before we see like the first like BMW that's only available in fucking ApeCoin, right?
the jewelry one I thought was going to happen because all these different artists are getting in. You know, make a you know, nice rap music video, all the chains and different stuff. You know, start selling grills and whatnot. That's, I mean, they spiked after music videos and everyone had their own grill. So I thought that's what's going to happen. All these different Warner music artists are going to show up. They're going to start wearing their punk necklaces, and then that'll drive up sales and volume and whatnot. That was kind of my thought, because we're seeing a bunch of different artists get in and they set the trends usually.
Yeah, and well, on that note too, like I think another example that's relevant to look at is like Kanye West and how he's handled his music in certain ways, the way that he turns it into a whole event and like a drop, and then also he like basically token gated his own music on his own platform on Tidal for a little while. It's kind of like that's what they're doing with ApeCoin. They're going to create a whole ecosystem that's both physical and in the metaverse and another side, and you have to be over here on the ApeCoin, you know, software to access any of it. And if they can actually pull it off by getting partners like the Gucci's and the Tiffanys and all these massive brands to be creating that super valuable content at a regular click, like I think it's going to be insane to watch what ApeCoin is doing over the next year or two.
Yeah, guys, we have about 8 minutes left. Continue participating there in the chat. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to NFT Live today. We have about 8 minutes. It's pretty much a hard stop for everyone involved here. So a little bit of an abbreviated episode that we're going to run, but we, again, had to do it for y'all here on a Wednesday and get that NFT Live going. I will be back home tomorrow as well to do a Nifty Q show. All right, last story here for you guys. And this is going to be a good one because this story came up on Web3 this morning, on the morning show this morning, and it's about Recur, which is Ronan would probably have a better example of like what this company does, but essentially they bring big IP into the space. They launch specific NFT, projects in different ways. They add different use pieces. So there's a ton that I want to get into here in our short amount of time. But the main question that I have beyond the similarities to Wax, and I'll open this question up to everybody, is do NFTs all need to have utility? The point that I was trying to make earlier in the morning show was that this reminded me a lot of Wax because at the time we were collecting those things just to flip them. I mean, that's a utility in of itself, but we collected them just to collect them. It wasn't to join a community. It wasn't all these things we think of now when we think about NFTs. So I'll open that up. I'll also share my screen to give you all a look. What are your thoughts looking at this product and how they're going about launching their NFTs?
So I'll just say briefly, like it's not all NFTs have to have utility. Like we know that there's POAPs and there's things that are just purely collectibles, and that's totally fine. But to me, it's about how you position yourself, and a big part of that is the pricing too, and you know where you're doing it, on what chain, right? So the issue with some of these things is that they don't seem to have a lot of awareness or understanding of what they're asking of the community when they price it and when they put it in certain places, and then you know the way that they package it is like it's you know something totally different or something that it's not. It might be misleading. Or you know, I don't know. So to me, it's just about positioning it properly.
Did we lose Ronan?
Marco.
Nope, I'm still here.
Hey.
Hey, I was just letting you guys like discuss. Yeah, so like what Recur does is they essentially go out and they obtain these IPs and then they use the IPs in you know the NFT space and you know to Q to kind of what you were talking about. I think that they are just collectibles, right? And I think that there's a world where that makes sense. There's a world where that lives. There's a place for it, right? You look at VV collectibles. We don't really talk about VV a lot on here, mainly because of the fact that it was like such a closed ecosystem. But now that it has opened up, I think that it's probably worth us discussing a little more because it is kind of that more adoptable bridge that allows for, people who aren't crypto friendly to get into the ecosystem. And that's what Recur is doing. I think that, it's cool to see all of these names coming into the space, and it's a lot of nostalgia. For me, it's like, what do you do with it? Like, where's the value for, the Rugrats PFP holders beyond like grabbing the PFPs? Does everything need value? No, but if you're going to sell me a PFP, then there's an expectation that there's value there, because a PFP, that's the assumption, right? Versus like just like a digital collectible. So, it's going to be super interesting. I think they've got a lot of really cool IP that they can work with, and I'd love for them to see them do a little bit more innovative stuff outside of just taking the Rugrats and making it into a PFP collection.
I would love to see my
Giffen Savage.
my bags pumped. So let's go Recur. Come on.
Which do you mean here, Savage?
Oh, I mean, I hold most layer 1 blockchains, or whatever. So I like seeing new projects hit the space, and I hope they do really well. And maybe I won't be in their NFTs, but I'm in some of these coins. I need some pumps.
Yeah, I want to hit this last question one more time towards Ronan, and then Gip, I definitely want to hit your take here on this as well, man. Again, referencing Wax and the way that they went about their drops back in the day, back in 2020 when we first got in, is the answer that like we can't have NFT collectibles? Because didn't Wax just completely fall off a cliff because that was the model they were going with, right? They were launching like Street Fighter might not be the best example, but Godzilla flopped. Shatner, I'm assuming, flopped. Like all of these just pure collectibles flopped and led to not becoming possibly a better chain at the end of the day in that NFT bull run that we saw.
I think the issue that killed Wax was like twofold. I think one, Wax proper, like the Wax like team, right, that launched that, was the complete opposite of like Dapper, right? They had no direct support for these projects. Like if you were a project launching on Wax, you were lucky if they like fucking, sent you the API information. Like you were just out there on your own, and they were a little late to try to support the projects that did launch. The other thing is that the only place to take part in their ecosystem was essentially third-party websites, right? Mainly Atomic Hub. That's awesome. But if it's not your own and you're not controlling that ecosystem, then the ecosystem can kind of be whatever the fuck it wants to be, right? And I think Atomic Hub also became a marketplace and became like kind of like a middleman between Wax and clients. So then they started taking on their own clients. So they got, so they're all fucking all over the place with where their, attention is. And essentially, like, you don't have anybody that's like steering the ship as one. It was like, hey, we're all one big thing, but we're all segregated. Where Wax could have done better is Wax could have had a Wax marketplace where they sold everything. That was a secondary marketplace that had a profile system, that had all the trading and shit built in, that had the wish lists and all these things that Atomic Hub eventually did code, but wasn't there originally and wasn't proprietary, right? Like, I think, if Recur had half of, if they were smart, they would build that ecosystem where all of these brands are interchangeable, integrated. This is not like a new thought process, right? Like we've seen it before. Collectibles work. You just have to give them the proper foundation.
Fantastic take, Kif. I want to get your take here before you bounce out.
Yeah, I got to jump. So yeah, everything Ronan said, he knows what he's talking about. First of all, the issue with licenses in general is that they're third-party expressions of the brand, and so that can create a lot of issues. That can mean a lack of fidelity to the original brand. It also means that it's a product that's siloed off from the brand, and so there's not necessarily any long-term dedicated interest in whatever that product is. So I think Ronan covered a lot of that, and I do unfortunately have to jump. Our vibe, our tribe. I do want to leave y'all with one of my favorite Tez artists that I've discovered. Name is Kim Asendorf. Kim Asendorf. And this project, Monogrid, and also on FX Hash, Monogrid 1.1. Check those out, open them up, look at them in different screen sizes. They're absolutely insane. So check out Kim Asendorf on FX Hash and on Objects. And that's it for me. Big love to y'all.
Peace, Giff.
Later, Giff.
Later. You got to make a
That
face,
was
dude.
excellent.
Nice.
that little blurb
Yo,
was so good, man.
It was. I want to touch on one comment here, and I want to get both of y'all's takes. Savage, you got into the Wax ecosystem when we were all kind of rolling in that, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I haven't been in that wallet in probably a year or so. But yeah, I was in there. I got some NFTs in there. That's where we started. Yep.
Okay, so Santino Ramos is saying, when was the last time y'all was on Wax? Things have changed, especially thanks to Nifty blocks, more artists. The community is one of the strongest. So I want to have this question posed to both of you. What would it take to kind of get you back into the Wax ecosystem continuously, right? Like on a weekly basis, monthly basis, what have you?
Hey, we start talking about it on NFT Live. I'm going to be over there looking at different stuff. Our vibe, our tribe.
Yeah, for me, probably like to their point, Nifty Blocks is really freaking cool. When it first launched, I was like really playing with it a bit. I'm sure that they've come a long way, and it's probably something that I like honestly should give a little attention to, because they really lean heavily on the what is it, the merging mechanic that Wax had, right, where you could take two NFTs, merge them together, create a new one. And they made that accessible to artists, and made it really easy to build projects, and there were some really cool ones. So I think, like, to their point, sure, like Wax isn't dead, but like I do think that Wax had a moment in time where they could have ripped a massive like portion of market share from like Ethereum and what Ethereum was building and the brands that were looking at Ethereum, and they didn't. And they had these brands like Topps that were locked in, and now Topps is working with, Candy and other people. They had their opportunities and they kind of fumbled the ball, right? Again, the ecosystem's there. It's not going to go anywhere, I don't think. I think that like the community is excellent, but there definitely was an opportunity for Wax to be much, much bigger than what it is at the moment. And not to say that it won't ever get there again, just that, it was sad to see so many huge IPs get geared up to launch. And then, Funko, whatever happened to Funko? Funko was supposed to be doing, Wax drops on a weekly basis in an app like a year ago. And then that one kind of fell by the wayside. I think they launched it and they only did like 2 drops before they pulled the plug. But I don't know, that may be just hearsay.
Yeah, the collectibles piece too is like they really targeted that sector. And I think that might be a larger sector as the NFT space, or when it becomes whatever it becomes. I think mass adoption would show us that collectibles could probably be an area of mass market where they can really, really find success. In the short term, they're not really having as much success as you talked about, right? They could be taking more of a market share in the NFT space that we see now. But I'm sure their team was like looking at some of the PFP movement and being like, what the heck is going on? Because in my mind, they were just stuck in that collectibles mode, right? Like they didn't see that community aspect around the PFPs and all these different things. Maybe they do now. I need to get back into it. Would love to see what my Shatner drop is worth now. But we'll be watching Wax, and I would love to have them on the channel, man. If they can get on the NFT Live episode or Nifty Q show, I'd love to get them on the channel.
Yeah, that's definitely where LADZ City started, was with Wax. Maybe we'll get them on for an anniversary episode or something.
That would be dope, man. Yo, anything?
Snap! Happy 2 years.
Is that today?
The 30th was 2 years, bro.
Hey, I knew it was close.
Holy
it was close.
Wow,
I got some
just
feel
hit
effects
me.
for that. Let's go.
Hey.
I'm really feeling it.
Damn.
I can't
Yeah, happy
believe
2
that,
years.
dude.
Hell yeah,
2
guys.
years. Happy 2 years. Let's go.
Happy.
Time moves so
for
fast in this
for our
space.
2-year anniversary, we're gonna go into our Wax wallets and see what the hell is going on here on Friday.
Yeah, we should do a
See all the
Wax
old school NFTs.
episode. See what the next Wax
like,
drop is and just spin up a sale day.
Hopefully it's not a
You
depressing
still got your sale
episode.
day show?
Oh, it's sale day. Bust out the sale. Bust out the Just
Good
fix
Chelsea.
it.
Good Chelsea. All right.
Super fun
Guys, we're gonna
episode.
get up out of here. Yeah, absolutely. Savage, thank you so much. Anything else that Savage you want to hit, and then Ronan, I'll let you take us out. It's been a great episode. Appreciate you guys tuning into NFT Live. I know, again, on vacation we had like a different type of layout for our Wednesday piece, but Savage held it down. So thank you guys.
All I gotta say is
our vibe, our tribe.
see you guys inside the Discord.
Yeah, that's what's up. I appreciate everybody hanging out. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoy the episode. Subscribe if you really love the content. We're here every freaking damn day producing something for you guys to listen to and teaching you about NFTs. And we appreciate you guys so much. We'll be back next week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's our vibe, our tribe.
Later.
Got me saying GM, now my wrist so frozen. I just saw the bag, it's a real good morning. And I'm burning on my gas, but I made a couple $1,000. Got me saying GM, good morning, I hope you make a place. In a bear market, just trying to make a way, yeah. And these goblins riding up to space. But it's kind of funny, so it's all good with me, yeah. Good morning, I hope you live it well. Counting up the spread, taking care of yourself, babe. Good morning, I hope you living good. Hopefully this heat gon' get us out of here. GM,